The polished floor of Zetheria Station's main council hall gleamed under soft blue lights as dozens of alien delegates shuffled into their seats. The air hummed with quiet conversation in 100 different languages. At the center podium, Ambassador Ralthek, a tall figure with 4 arms and silver skin, activated the holographic display. Species designation human, he announced, his voice carrying easily through the chamber. Planet designation Earth, 3rd planet from Starsol. Technological level pre-FTL. Current estimate of military capability primitive chemical rockets. Basic nuclear weapons, no energy shields. Threat assessment minimal to non-existent. The display showed Earth spinning slowly, a small blue dot against the vast darkness of space. Several council members made dismissive clicking sounds. The Vorthans, a warrior race known for their purple scales and aggressive expansion policies, leaned forward with interest. I recommend standard mining rights for the Vorthans, Ralthek continued. The system contains several asteroid belts rich in quantum crystals. The local species appears too primitive to interfere with our operations. Far away from the council chamber, in Earth's solar system, Command Admiral Wei Jin stood on the bridge of the UES Harmony. The ship was humanity's pride, barely 6 months old and representing the best technology Earth could produce. Wei Jin studied the sensor readings with growing concern. Sir, we're detecting massive energy signatures approaching from the outer system, reported his navigation officer. Count shows approximately 50 vessels, all much larger than anything in our fleet. Wei Jin straightened his uniform. He had hoped first contact would be peaceful, like in the old science fiction movies. The approaching fleet had weapons that made Earth's nuclear arsenal look like firecrackers. Open all communication channels. Broadcast welcome messages in every language we have. Captain Hai-1 was checking the morning shift reports at Earth Defense Station Alpha when the alarms began screaming. Through the reinforced windows of the command center, space should have been empty, except for a few supply shuttles. Instead, a ship the size of a small city floated there, its hull covered in strange glowing symbols. All stations, this is Alpha Base, He-1 spoke into her microphone, trying to keep her voice steady. We have visual contact with unknown vessel, attempting communication. The response came not in words but in violence. A beam of purple energy lanced out from the alien ship, striking Alpha Base's main habitat module. Hai-1 watched in horror. As the section containing 2,000 people simply disappeared, vanished in a flash of light and debris. All stations, this is Alpha Base. We are under attack. Repeat, we are under hostile alien attack. They fired without warning. The alien ship moved past the destroyed station like it was nothing more than an annoying insect it had swatted aside. More ships appeared, heading toward Earth itself. Dr. Minho received the emergency call while analyzing soil samples in his laboratory at the Seoul Advanced Research Facility. Within hours, he was standing in a secure underground bunker, examining pieces of the alien weapon that had destroyed Alpha Base. The metal felt wrong in his hands, too light, too smooth, and it seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. When he ran a spectral analysis, the results made no sense. The energy readings were off any scale they had. Minister Kimmer, he said to the woman standing beside him, South Korea's Minister of Science and Technology. These energy signatures, they're like nothing we've ever seen. This isn't just advanced technology, it's completely different physics. Minister Kimmer looked pale. Can we understand it? Can we fight back? Dr. Minho pulled up holographic displays of the wreckage. Give me time. Give me resources. We'll figure this out. As Earth's governments went into emergency session, more alien ships arrived. They didn't land or attempt communication. They simply took positions around the planet and began what could only be called an occupation. 6 months later, Ambassador Ralthek stood before the Galactic Council again. But this time, his usually confident posture was gone. His 4 hands trembled slightly as he activated the display. Honored members, he began, his voice cracking, I regret to inform you that the human species has not responded as predicted. The display showed images from Earth, cities where humans had vanished, underground building massive tunnels, wreckage of Vorten ships drifting in space, and most disturbing of all, human ships, clearly built from stolen alien technology, appearing in places they shouldn't have been able to reach. The Vorthans sent 3 punishment fleets, Ralthek continued. The first disappeared entirely. The second returned with stories of human tactics that violate every standard rule of warfare. The third, he paused, looking sick. The third fleet was found drifting in space. Every ship intact, but every crew member gone. No bodies, no damage, just empty. A ripple of concerned murmurs spread through the council. Species that had existed for thousands of years began to wonder if they had made a terrible mistake. The humans weren't responding like conquered primitives. They were adapting, learning, and fighting back with a fury that was starting to frighten the galaxy. In the deep underground bunker beneath Sol, thousands of world leaders sat in a chamber, carved from solid rock. The walls still showed the marks from the drilling machines that had worked non-stop for 3 months. President Su Jin stood at a podium made from salvaged alien metal, its surface glowing with a faint blue light. "Ladies and gentlemen," she began, her voice echoing slightly in the vast space. 6 months ago, we were hundreds of separate nations. We fought each other over oil, over territory, over old arguments. Today, every single country on Earth has signed the Vancouver Accords. The leaders looked up at her with tired but determined faces. The president of Brazil sat next to the prime minister of Russia. Ancient enemies shared the same table, their differences forgotten in the face of a greater threat. "We are one people now, facing one threat," Su Jin continued. "The aliens think they can crush us like they did our space station. They are wrong. We will show them what happens when you attack humanity." 10 floors below the assembly hall, Dr. Min Ho worked in what used to be a subway tunnel. The walls were now covered with screens showing alien technology breakdowns. His research team had grown from 12 people to over 300 in just 3 months. Scientists from every country worked together, sharing knowledge that would have been classified secrets just months ago. Dr. Jin Sol, his young assistant from the University of Tokyo, rushed over with a tablet. "Sir, look at these power readings. They're not just using our fusion reactors now, they're improving them. This new design produces 5 times more energy than anything we had before." Dr. Minho studied the numbers with growing excitement. "How long until we can build these? The factories in Beijing and Detroit are already working on the first prototypes. We should have them ready in 2 weeks." Across the room, teams of engineers worked on strange-looking engines that seemed to bend space around them. They called it the FTL drive, faster than light travel. 6 months ago it was science fiction. Now it was humanity's lifeline. In orbit above Earth, Captain Haiwan felt her stomach twist as space itself seemed to stretch around the ship. She gripped the armrests of her command chair on the bridge of the Defiance, Earth's first ship capable of faster-than-light travel. "Navigation confirmed," called out Rear Admiral Dong-uk from his station. "Jump successful. We're in the Proxima Centauri system. Travel time, 17 seconds. The crew stared at their screens in amazement. They had just traveled 4 light years. In less than 20 seconds, the alien technology they had stolen and improved upon was working perfectly. "Sir," called the weapons officer, "we're detecting 3 alien ships ahead. They appear to be patrol vessels." Captain Haiwan smiled coldly. "Good. It's time to return the favor. All weapons, prepare to fire." Meanwhile, in the command ship of the Vorthan patrol fleet, Fleet Commander Ralthek studied his reports with growing concern. His aide, Subordinate Velthar, approached nervously. "Sir, our scouts report that human vessels are employing tactics we've never encountered. They appear from nowhere, attack and vanish before we can respond." "And sir," Velthar paused, looking uncomfortable. "Continue," Ralthek commanded. "They fight as if they don't fear death. In the last battle, we watched human pilots deliberately crash their ships into our vessels rather than retreat. They sing while they die, sir. Their communications were full of music." Ralthek felt a chill run down his spine. In his 1,000 years of military service, he had never encountered a species that treated death as a weapon rather than something to avoid. Back on Earth, in the North American Defense Command Center, General Sun Ki stood before a massive holographic map of the solar system. Red dots showed alien positions. Blue dots showed human forces. The red dots were starting to look surrounded. "Gentlemen," he said to his staff, which now included officers from every military on Earth. The aliens expect us to fight their way. Line up ships, trade shots, retreat when damaged. That's how galactic warfare works. He pointed to a cluster of red dots near Mars. But we're not galactic, we're human, we don't play by their rules. An aide handed him a report. Sun Ki read it quickly and smiled grimly. The lunar factories have completed the first batch of kinetic missiles. The aliens still don't understand why we're mining so much iron from the asteroids. They will. He turned to face his officers. They want to play by galactic rules? We'll show them what human rules look like. Rule number 1, there are no rules when someone attacks your home. On screens throughout the bunker, reports came in from around the world. Entire cities had moved underground. Factories that once made cars now built warships. Children learned engineering instead of poetry. Humanity was transforming itself into something the galaxy had never seen before. A species that could adapt, learn, and fight back with a fury that grew stronger with each passing day. The awakening had begun, and the aliens were starting to realize they had made a terrible mistake by underestimating the people of Earth. Lunar Base had changed dramatically in the 12 months since the war began. Admiral Jamin walked through corridors that used to be simple mining tunnels, now lined with power conduits the size of subway cars. The entire moon had been hollowed out and turned into something the galaxy had never seen before. Target acquired. "Sir," reported his weapons officer. On the main screen, a massive Vortan battleship floated in Mars orbit, its hull gleaming with energy shields. "Distance 200,000 kilometers," another officer called out. Jamin smiled coldly. "Fire when ready." The moon itself seemed to hum with power. Deep beneath the surface, machines the size of skyscrapers aligned. A beam of pure energy, brighter than the sun itself, lanced out across space. The Vortan battleship simply ceased to exist, vaporized completely in less than a second. "Target destroyed, sir," the weapons officer reported. "No debris detected." 3,000 kilometers away from the command center, Dr. Yoon-ji worked in her laboratory, carved into the lunar rock. The captured Vorthan soldiers lay on tables, connected to medical equipment that kept them alive while she studied every aspect of their biology. "Minister So Young," she said to the woman standing beside her, "their physiology is fascinating. Look at these neural pathways. Their brains work on quantum principles. We can learn from this." Minister So Young leaned over the unconscious alien. Its purple skin writhed with patterns that seemed to shift like living tattoos. "Is it suffering?" "No," Dr. Yoon-ji replied. "I've made sure of that. But Minister, what we're learning here, it's going to change everything. Their cellular structure, their energy processing, we can adapt this." In the chambers of the Galactic Council, Commander Ralthek stood trembling before the assembled delegates. His usually perfect uniform was disheveled, and one of his 4 arms had bandages where human weapons had burned through his ship's armor. "Honored members," he began, his voice shaking, "I bring grave news about the human situation." Elder Sithek, the ancient council leader, gestured for him to continue. "Report, Commander." "Our moon-sized orbital fortress that guarded the Earth system, it's gone. Not destroyed, not damaged, gone. We can't find it anywhere in the system. Our sensors show no debris, no energy signatures. It simply vanished." Murmurs of concern rippled through the council. The orbital fortress had been the size of a small planet, with enough firepower to level continents. "Furthermore," Ralthek continued, "our patrol fleets report that human ships are appearing inside our formations. They seem to travel through some form of space we cannot detect." Far from the council chambers, Captain Hee-won floated in the command chair of the stealth ship Phantom. Around her, space itself looked wrong, twisted and dark like looking through broken glass. This was phase space, a dimension humans had discovered by studying captured alien technology and improving upon it. "Captain," her navigation officer reported, "we've emerged behind the Vorthan battle line. 17 ships, all heavy cruisers." Hai-Won looked at her fleet status display. 50 human ships materialized around her, phasing back into normal space. The Vorthans never saw them coming. "All units," she spoke calmly into her microphone, Commence Operation Ghost Storm. Chaos erupted in the Vorthan fleet as human ships appeared from nowhere, their weapons already firing. But these weren't the simple explosive weapons of a year ago. These were weapons that turned matter into energy, that folded space itself into knots, that did things the galaxy thought were impossible. In her underground office on Earth, President So-Jin, now called the Supreme Director by Earth's unified government, prepared for humanity's first broadcast to the entire galaxy. The equipment was built from a mix of human engineering and stolen alien technology, powerful enough to breach every communication network in known space. She wore a simple black uniform, her grey hair pulled back severely. Behind her, screens showed the current war status. Human forces were no longer just defending Earth. They were attacking alien positions across 12 star systems. "Citizens of the galaxy," she began, her voice being transmitted to billions of alien listeners. "I am Supreme Director So-Jin of Earth. You know of us as the humans, the primitive species you decided to attack without provocation." She paused, letting her words sink in. "We didn't start this war, but we will finish it. On our terms. You came to our system expecting to find helpless primitives. Instead, you found something the galaxy hasn't seen in thousands of years. A species that grows stronger when threatened." On the screen behind her, images showed human achievements. The weaponized moon, ships moving through dimensions, soldiers wearing armor that made them stronger than any alien warrior. "To those who attacked us, surrender now, and we will be merciful. Continue to fight, and we will show you what humans do to those who threaten our children. This is your only warning." The transmission ended, leaving the galaxy in stunned silence. In council chambers, military headquarters, and planetary governments across known space, one question echoed. What had they awakened? The war was escalating, beyond anything the galaxy had ever seen, and humanity was just getting started. Fleet Admiral Dong-Uk stood on the bridge of the command vessel, Unity, his face calm as he watched the sensor displays. The Galactic Council had demanded to see what happened to their missing fleet. Today they would get their answer. "Sir, phase space rift opening ahead," his sensors officer reported. Through the tear in space itself, they came. 300 Vorthan. Ships that had vanished 6 months ago during an attack on the outer colonies. But they were different now. The clean lines of their hulls were gone, replaced by something that looked half machine, half living creature. Green veins of light pulsed through their armor like a heartbeat. The lead Vorthan ship opened communications. The voice that came through was peaceful, almost happy. "Fleet Admiral Dong-Uk, this is Captain Velthanor. The integration is complete. We report for duty." On the bridge of the council ship, Ambassador Yaltek watched in horror. These had been his people. "Those are Vorthan vessels," he whispered. Fleet Admiral Dong-Uk nodded calmly. "They were. They're not destroyed, Council. They're improved." Each transformed ship now carried a mix of human and Vorthan crew. The Vorthans looked peaceful, their purple skin showing new patterns that matched the ship's bioluminescent veins. They moved with purpose, but without the aggressive territorial instincts that had driven them to attack Earth. Deep in the research stations of the outer colonies, Dr. Minho walked through laboratories filled with alien delegates from dozens of species. They had come to see humanity's integration project, and most looked terrified by what they found. "As you can see," Dr. Minho explained calmly, "the process is painless and voluntary. We don't conquer, we evolve, together." On the demonstration table lay a Vorthan volunteer and a human volunteer, connected by tubes of glowing liquid that seemed to pulse with life. As the delegates watched, the liquid carried information between the two species, DNA, memories, consciousness, itself flowing back and forth. "The Vorthan gains human adaptability and creativity," Dr. Minho continued. "The human gains Vorthan strength and enhanced sensory abilities. Both become more than they were alone." A delegate from the crystalline assembly chittered nervously. "But they're still themselves?" "More themselves than ever," Dr. Minho smiled. "We don't erase, we enhance, we add. Every species has something valuable to offer." Light years away, Commander Jinwoo's Liberation Fleet approached Vorthan Colony 7. The planet held 3 billion Vorthans who had been cut off from their military during the early parts of the war. His ships moved through space with a strange beauty, their hulls rippling with organic patterns. "Attention inhabitants of Colony 7, Jinwu broadcast, you are now under human protection. Your government attacked our home and killed our people. But we are not here for revenge, we are here to offer something better," the Vorthan planetary governor, Morthek, responded angrily. "We will never surrender to primitive mammals," Jinwu sighed. "Resistance will result in mandatory enhancement. We prefer volunteers, but we won't leave anyone behind to suffer under systems that create war." Below on the planet, the Vortans watched in confusion as human troops landed, not to destroy, but to build. Medical centers, schools, integration, facilities. The humans moved with purpose but without hatred. They came as liberators, not conquerors. In the great chambers of the Galactic Council, tension filled the air like a physical thing. Supreme Director Su Jin stood before the assembled delegates, but she was no longer asking for anything. She was giving them terms. "You created this situation," she said firmly. "Your people fired on our civilians without warning. Your fleets attacked our children, now we'll solve it permanently." Behind her, holographic displays showed human forces across the galaxy. Not just fighting, but transforming entire systems. Planets under human protection showed unprecedented cooperation between species. Art flourished. Technology advanced by centuries within years. War was ending, but not through destruction, through unity. "Join us willingly," Su Jin continued, "and help shape the future. Resist, and we'll drag you into it anyway. Either way, the galaxy will be better when we're done." In his private office, Council Leader Raltek read intelligence reports with shaking hands. His aide watched nervously as the old leader's faces cycled through expressions of disbelief, fear, and something that might have been wonder. "Sir," the aide ventured, "your orders?" Raltek looked up, his multiple eyes wide. "They're not just winning battles. They're rewriting the rules of existence itself. Look at this." He pointed to a report. "They've eliminated poverty on 17 Suo worlds, cured 3 incurable diseases, solved energy shortages that have plagued civilizations for millennia." He stood slowly, looking out at the stars. I think they're not the monsters. We were, and now they're making us into something better, whether we want it or not. The terror wasn't what humans might destroy. The terror was how they would transform everything, including their enemies, into something wonderful. Premier Hyawon stood in the grand hall of New Harmony Station, looking out at representatives from 17 star systems. She remembered when she was just Captain Hyawon, watching her first space station get destroyed. Now she governed more worlds than the old Galactic Council ever dreamed of controlling. "The Covenant offers equality through unity," she said, her voice carrying to beings of dozens of different species. Vortans, with their purple skin, sat next to crystalline Zithanans, while floating gas beings mingled with insectoid delegates. "This is your only choice, not because we force it, but because together we are stronger than apart." A young Vorthan, part of the new generation born after integration, raised a hand. "Premier, what about those who still resist?" Hyawon smiled. "Sadly, we will wait. We will be patient. Eventually, even the most stubborn will see that cooperation creates wonders that war never could." In the research centers of Alpha Centauri, Dr. Yunji walked through laboratories where miracles were becoming routine. She was no longer just studying aliens. She was working with them to push the boundaries of what life itself could become. "Fear is obsolete," she told the Combined Species Council during their monthly meeting. Around her, holographic displays showed the latest achievements. Diseases conquered, aging reversed for any species that wanted it, psychic networks connecting minds across galaxies. "Together, we are better than the sum of our parts." A delegate from a species that had only recently joined asked, "But what about our individuality, our uniqueness?" Dr. Yunji activated another display showing the arts district of New Earth, thousands of different species creating beauty together. Integration doesn't erase, it adds. Every culture, every way of thinking, every form of art becomes stronger when mixed with others. Light years away, General Sunkey reviewed the latest reports from the Deep Space Scouts. The human galactic peacekeeping force had grown from Earth's small military into something that spanned half the known universe. But they weren't conquerors anymore. They were gardeners helping civilizations grow. Prepare the message, he told his aide. The communication would travel faster than light itself, reaching galaxies that had never heard of Earth or humans. His voice was recorded and broadcast across the void. To the civilizations of distant galaxies, we are the Human Galactic Coalition. We bring order through understanding, growth through unity. We have eliminated war, poverty, and suffering from our region of space. We offer these gifts to you. Prepare for our arrival, not as conquerors but as friends who will not take no for an answer. Ambassador Wei Jin, once a simple Earth admiral, now served as humanity's first galactic diplomat. He sat across from representatives of the last holdout empire, a collection of worlds that still believed in the old ways of competition and dominance. The universe is vast, he said calmly, sipping tea that could only exist because of integration, a blend of 5 different worlds' plants. That perfectly matched human and alien biochemistry. But we are patient. We will make it better. The alien emperor, whose species looked like armored bears, slammed a massive fist on the table. You can't force an entire galaxy to join your cult. Wei Jin smiled, showing no fear. We won't force. We'll wait. Your people will see the prosperity of our worlds, the art, the science, the happiness. Eventually, they'll ask why their leaders keep them from such gifts. In a quiet garden on New Earth, former council leader Ralthek walked slowly, using a cane to support his elderly frame. His body had been given the option of youth renewal. His mind had chosen to age naturally, finding wisdom in the process. Beside him walked a human child named Sarah, her eyes bright with curiosity. She had been assigned to him as part of the cultural exchange program, old enemies becoming family. Grandfather Ral, she asked, using the title he had earned rather than the one he was born with. Why did your people fight the humans? Weren't you afraid? Ralthek looked up at the sky where ships from a dozen species came and went in perfect harmony. We thought they were monsters, he admitted. We were wrong. They made us monsters by making us perfect. The child frowned, not understanding. We were cruel because we thought it made us strong, Ralthek explained. We were selfish because we thought it made us free. The humans showed us that real strength comes from helping others. Real freedom comes from choosing to be better than you were. On the horizon, the sun set purple and gold, colors that had been added to Earth's atmosphere through careful terraforming that considered the aesthetic preferences of all species. That called the planet home. The galaxy had transformed. War was becoming a historical curiosity. Suffering was optional. Death was a choice, not a sentence. And at the edge of known space, more ships prepared to carry this gift to new worlds, to new species, to new futures. The age of separation was ending. The age of unity had begun, and the universe would never be the same.